At this time, I'd like to call up Rihanna Etwaru, Bayonne High School Student Council President, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Bee's Knees will now perform the national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, Right, wait. Forward, forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, I kindly ask you to remain standing and join me in a moment of silence in memory of our former superintendent, Dr. Patricia L. McGeehan, who was a leading founder of our Field of Heroes program. Thank you. You may be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Bayonne High School for the 2024 Field of Heroes program. It is a true honor to be a part of this event where we recognize our veterans for their contributions to our city and our country. I'd like to recognize several of our distinguished guests here with us today. We have U.S. Representative, the Honorable Rob Menendez, State Senator, the Honorable Angela McKnight, State Assemblyman, the Honorable William Sampson, County Commissioner, the Honorable Kenneth Kopaz, Mayor of the City of Bayonne, the Honorable James Davis, Council Member at Large, the Honorable Juan Perez, First Ward Councilman, the Honorable Neil Carroll, Dr. Neil Carroll, Second Ward Councilwoman, the Honorable Jacqueline Weimer, and Third Ward Councilman and our Council President, the Honorable Gary LaPalooza. We also have with us today former Mayor Mark Smith, along with our Board of Education President, Ms. Jody Casillas, along with our Board of Education Trustees, Superintendent John Neese, and District Administration Leadership Team, principals, assistant principals, directors, supervisors, faculty, staff, and students. Police Chief Robert Geisler, Fire Chief Keith Weaver, Public Safety Director Robert Kubert, Director of OEM Junior Ferrante, Commander Glenn Flora, Jackie George, and the Veterans Museum of Bayonne, and all of our veterans and members of our veterans organizations. Thank you for being here this morning. I would now like to call upon our educational leader, Superintendent John Neese, to say a few words.
Good morning. Today we honor Bayonne's military Field of Heroes, those who gave the United States of America and our military, those who gave selflessly of themselves and their country. Each of this year's recipients are part of the fabric that represents our country, from the battlefields of Korea as the chosen few, to the first Tet Offensive, the first Air Cav, finding POWs, calling and coordinating airstrikes in Vietnam. Dr. Degny is going to read about these individuals, but I'd like to share something with our inductees and myself and my family. What they went through, what they've gone through, and I'm sure their families can attest to that, they never spoke of. But I'd like to share something with you. My father passed away a while ago, and my uncles delivered air support to you in the battlefields of Korea and Vietnam. And this, if you can imagine this, it's called a blood chit, C-H-I-T. And the pilots carried that with them, and it was if you crash landed, a UN soldier, if you can lead him to the nearest UN troops, we shall greatly appreciate it. And it's written in Korean and Japanese. Gentlemen, you served this country. It was an honor and a privilege to read your biographies. If anyone in here has the opportunity to watch The Chosen, C-H-O-S-I-N, about a valiant charge of 15,000 American troops against 150,000 enemies. Ladies and gentlemen, they were outnumbered 10-1. They suffered 12,000 casualties, and over 2,000 who got out were given a Purple Heart, multiple Purple Hearts. It was so cold during that battlefield that human blood froze. And then if you take another opportunity to watch We Were Soldiers, the first Air Cav that landed November of 65 through December 13th. And you know the story. Tremendous casualties, our first engagement of battle in Vietnam. To another one of our inductees, can you imagine, we've all heard on the radio when you receive a call for an airstrike and you need air support and you're yelling into the communication device, your portable radio. Another individual from our Field of Heroes was taking that call and coordinating that airstrike. To a colonel who his first mission was as a first lieutenant in Vietnam, and then he had the privilege of leading America's effort to find POWs and MIAs. And then, last but not least, somebody was in the Tet Offensive in the Iron Triangle. Students in the classroom, close your eyes, because that's what it was like to fight in that battle. The elephant grass was so high. It was tunnels, and our soldiers fought valiantly in all of these battles. So it's with great reverence that we welcome all of you and your families. It's been an honor and a privilege to read about each and every one of you and the battles that you fought, and all of our veterans. All those names on that, up on our wall have gave so much for our country. So boys, girls, students of Bayonne High School, this is what America is all about, defending our freedom and serving when others, it's kind of tough to do. But they did tremendous things, and it's an honor and an absolute privilege to be here. This is the first time I've ever taken that out, so we're going to put that right back in the old pocket, and I'll probably have to frame that one day. But when I saw it and it just hit me, and you can imagine hanging on to this and driving to work and coming in, it just brings back a lot of amazing memories of some brave soldiers and all of you. So it's an honor and a privilege to stand here. It's an honor and privilege to turn the show back over to Mr. Mikowski, but I'm very, very humbled to be standing before all of you. So God bless America.
Thank you, Superintendent Neese. Now to present the Declaration of Mission, I invite Dr. Dennis Degnan to the podium.
Good morning. Thank you, Superintendent Neese and Principal Mikowski. Welcome to our distinguished guests, our honorees, and their families. 8 years ago, we conducted the first ever Field of Heroes ceremony at Bayonne High School. Founded in 2016 by Dr. McGeehan, Dr. Carroll, and Director Ward, and continued by Superintendent Neese, this tradition has become one of our strongest and proudest. A brief glance around this room will demonstrate just how many of our staff and students are involved in making this program the success that it is. They deserve a thank you and a round of applause. Our mission is to honor the memory of individuals that lost their lives serving our country. Further, we gather here to commend those blessed with the ability to return home safely and then commit themselves to further service to their community. In fact, that is the criteria for which our heroes are chosen. These heroes before us have improved our lives and surroundings through their continued devotion to country and community. Their actions have inspired thousands to work, volunteer, and understand the meaning of honor. Bayonne has the distinction of producing 3 Medal of Honor recipients, and we are pleased to acknowledge and welcome back Sarah Shemin-Cass, the eldest grandchild of Sergeant William Shemin. Sarah, thank you for joining us this morning. Further, this city and this school district have spawned countless civic heroes. There have been many men and women who have dedicated their lives to the progress of our community and the preservation of our way of life. The best example of that collective service is the success of our Veterans Museum. The funds raised from our efforts will be donated to this organization, Veterans Post 226. The post welcomes over 600 of our students and staff every year, going out of their way to provide veteran speakers and lecturers offering unparalleled educational service to our students. They have established a learning community that is invaluable not only for our students but the citizens as well. Moreover, the community has embraced our yearly dedication of flags seen on your way in today. The heroes in this community answered the call without hesitation and served with distinction. We thank you for being here to honor them. On behalf of Superintendent John Neese, the Bayonne Board of Education, and the staff and students of the Bayonne Public School District, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our veterans, past and present, for dedicating their lives to protecting our country. I would like to acknowledge them for their bravery, honor, and commitment. And now, I would like to show you a clip of the learning community established by the veterans at Post 226. Thank you.
The great city of Bayonne has a historical narration reflective of and with military partnerships and support of the American Armed Services. From the earliest forts during the American Revolution to the famous PT boats of President Kennedy, from the naval base that supplied the Persian Gulf War to the 3 proud residents who were bestowed the nation's greatest heroic acknowledgement. In 1919, returning servicemen charted Bayonne's very first Veterans of Foreign Wars post in order to help digest and embrace the battles of the First Great War while aiding other returning soldiers in the assimilation back into daily society. This post was rightfully named after the first and last service members from the Bayonne community to fall in line of duty during World War I, Mr. Martin Joyce and Mr. William Herbert. In 2006, Commander Glenn J. Flora and Senior Vice Commander Joseph Kennedy decided to transform the Joyce Herbert VFW Post 226 into an educational interactive museum, highlighting the celebrated contributions of our local servicemen and women through various photographs, artifacts, and personal displays.
All the artifacts are here, were donated over the years by the different veterans or their families, and keeping the tradition of the military alive.
Over the years, the collection has grown, and so has the amount of annual visitors. The Joyce Herbert VFW Post 226 is also proud to work in partnership with the Bayonne Board of Education in order to service the student population through class trips, group discussions, and personal interactions with some local veterans. As a result of this proud partnership, roughly 8,000 students are educated on our local military history each academic school year.
I think coming to this place, seeing all the different military pictures and everything from many years ago, and also the uniforms and stuff like that, and I think it gives them a sense that, okay, this is real, these people are real, and this is what they do, what they did. And I think it's very important.
It's very important that the children learn what the veterans went through in different wars, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan.
The history is important because once we understand the history, we can do 2 things. One, we understand what it cost for liberty and freedom, and number 2, we also understand obligation.
I think that it's important for the children to learn our history, who we were, where we came from, and how we can get better and do more. But I also think it has a kind of an overarching tie into natural sensibilities of being committed to the country they live in now. So I think it helps assimilate, and it gives them a sense of who they are, and also to explore broader possibilities of what their own careers may lead them to.
The Joyce Herbert VFW Post 226 Military Museum is a nonprofit organization which relies on public donations in order to continue working towards the educational mission established in 2006.
We keep as much exposure by bringing veterans here to show the students and the elected officials and the private donors that this is a very worthwhile cause to continue and maintain.
Post 226 has been working diligently to showcase the local military heroes and, with future support, has major plans for institutional growth in the future.
It's an honor to bring up the Mayor of the City of Bayonne, the Honorable James Davis.
Morning, everyone. To all our veterans here today, thank you. Two simple words, and I start off every year by saying that. Two simple words. Every single day, we should say thank you to a veteran. Otherwise, we're not here. Look at the world today. Look how we're living today. But look what's going on around us. The whole world's in turmoil. Even in the United States of America, you have people who want to tear us apart, separate us in different groups, want everybody to be singled out. And a lot of people are worrying, are we going to fall apart? There's one group of people all you have to do is look at. That's our veterans. Each and every one of them stood next to each other, stood in a foxhole, and fought for each other. They fought for our freedom. They protected our freedom. But they fought for each other. Didn't matter what they looked like. Didn't matter what religion they were. It was all about protecting our freedom and protecting each other. So let's not forget that. Let's not forget who they are. Because in today's day and age, too few people are joining the military. Too few people are interested in joining the military. Someone has to man that wall. Someone has to protect that freedom. It's not just our freedom. There are many countries in the world that the flag of the United States represents freedom for them and protects their freedom and their way of right. So please, every single day, just say thank you to a veteran. Thank you.
I now invite our United States representative up to the podium, the Honorable Rob Menendez.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Bayonne, for having me here today. Thank you for what you do, not just today, but throughout the course of the year to honor veterans and their families. I join the mayor in saying thank you to all those who have served, saying thank you to all the families of those who have served, and that it's an honor to be here with you today as we recognize the dedication of the honorees and their families, as we once again honor all of the community members here in Bayonne who have done so much to do so much for our country. I want to join the mayor in recognizing the challenging times that we're in. We know this has been a hard couple of years. We have to recommit ourselves to each other, recommit ourselves to our communities, and recommit ourselves to this great country. And veterans are the best place to look, to show us the pathway there, to show us that when we give more of ourselves, we collectively can do great things. It has been a challenging couple of years, but I think about the pathway forward. I have 2 young children. It would be an honor if they served this country. We need to recognize the incredible work that all the folks do. It's an honor in this role to nominate people and support people who are at our service academies. It's an honor to work with our veterans and their families to make sure they have the support and resources that they deserve for the implementation of the PACT Act for the veterans who are exposed to burn pits and making sure they have access to those new resources. We will do whatever we can for you and your families. We will do whatever we can to uplift veterans and active military and their families, because in doing so, we're uplifting the best of who we are as a country, who we are and the best of us as Americans. And that's what today is about. So it's an incredible honor to be here with all of you, and I just want to, again, say thank you.
I now invite Dr. Degnan back to the podium to introduce today's guest speaker.
The Bayonne community is privileged to have established an enduring friendship with the superintendent of the United States Military Academy at West Point and his leadership staff. Since our inaugural Field of Heroes ceremony, the United States Military Academy at West Point has graciously connected us with outstanding keynote speakers. This year's speaker is no exception. Colonel Kate Conkey is a true inspiration, a brilliant mind, and a dedicated leader. A distinguished graduate, she was commissioned as a military police officer from Furman University. Her impressive academic journey continued with advanced degrees from Columbia and Webster universities and culminated in a PhD from Auburn University. Colonel Kate Conkey remains an enthusiastic advocate for our nation's military. Currently serving as the course director for military leadership and advanced military leadership at West Point, Colonel Conkey's influence extends far beyond the classroom. Her recent assignment in Kuwait and Hawaii have further enriched her global perspective and operational expertise. Colonel Kate Conkey characterizes the excellence of our military. Having served abroad, she now brings her experience to the Academy. Serving as a model officer, she is helping to usher in the current class of cadets that represent a new generation, a generation eager to carry our nation forward while holding to the traditions of the past. Colonel Conkey shares our dedication to education and the values we promote, not just at this ceremony, but in the homes, communities, and classrooms throughout our city. Colonel Conkey and her husband, Colonel Nate Conkey, who many of you might remember as last year's keynote speaker, exemplify the excellence of sacrifice. Their unwavering commitment to their roles in the military and as educators, all while raising 3 children, CJ, Marin, and Grayson, showcases a level of dedication that is an inspiration to us all. Colonel Conkey has served our nation with honor and distinction, and we are truly honored to have her with us. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Colonel Kate Conkey as she shares her insights and experiences with us today.
Good morning. Thanks, Dennis. I'd like to say good morning to the distinguished leader, special guests, and members of the Bayonne community, and most importantly, to the veterans and the families that are here today. It's fitting that today's ceremony begins in the month of November. November is one of my favorite months, with the cool, crisp autumn air, right? The advent of fall sports, football included. It also includes maybe a little mom tax on my kids' Halloween candy, right? Much to my children's dismay and maybe a little bit to my waistline. But these are all the things that I enjoy, but not the true deep reasons on why November is my favorite month. It's really about the holidays within November that bring significance to me, both Thanksgiving and Veterans Day, which brings us here today. The holidays are about service and gratitude. They originated at different times in our nation's history, but are both connected to our military in many ways, one of which I just recently discovered as I prepared to speak with you today. We are all familiar with the origins of Thanksgiving, but I did not realize it was not a formalized federal holiday and held consistently thereafter until President Lincoln declared it in 1863 in the midst of our nation's Civil War. In President Lincoln's Thanksgiving proclamation, he invited Americans across the United States, at sea, and in foreign lands to acknowledge the gifts bestowed upon the nation despite the ongoing conflict. He urged Americans to honor those affected by the war, express gratitude, seeking healing and peace for the country through collective reverence and unity. His proclamation underlined a lasting hope for peace and prosperity, a hope similarly felt in the 11th hour of the 11th day, on the 11th month in November 1918, when the agreement to end World War I was signed. Once called Armistice Day, Veterans Day was established to recognize the sacrifices of those who served in the war to end all wars and to celebrate peace. Veterans Day eventually expanded to honor all veterans of the U.S. Armed Forces who served on active duty in peacetime and war. It became a day of gratitude, of giving thanks for selfless service of our service members like those who we are honoring today. Like Owen Bowig, Jack Belton, Bruce Harder, Edward McGuinness, and Salvatore Mione. These men, these exemplars of Bayonne's commitment to country, represent millions of Americans who answered the call to serve our nation. There are more than 21 million veterans in the United States. Veterans represent 6.5% of the US population. Around 1% of American veterans are women, and 12% of American veterans are men. 16.1 million US veterans have served in at least one war or more. 5.2 million have served during peacetime. From Revolutionary War to the War on Terror, American service members have served in 12 major wars and numerous small conflicts. But our veterans' role in US history goes far beyond the battlefield. 26 of 46 presidents have been veterans. 1/3 of US Supreme Court justices throughout history have served in the military. Of the 330 current and former astronauts, 219 have served in the armed forces. They are our local leaders, police officers, firefighters, and teachers. It is unsurprising to me that those we honor here today and those they represent chose to serve others once out of military uniform. The profession of arms demands a selflessness counter to human nature, yet found in our most beloved, our closest relationships, between parents and children, brothers and sisters, although that might depend, right, on the age of the child and the sibling, between teachers and students, coaches and teammates. Service to nation starts and ends at home in how we think and about how we treat each other. At West Point, our superintendent, Lieutenant General Stephen Gillen, consistently underscores the importance of 3 basic actions to guide our cadets' behavior and their development to become leaders of our nation. 1, be positive. 2, do your best. 3, be a good teammate. These are actions that enable our nation's future leaders to live honorably, lead honorably, and demonstrate excellence. Excellence manifests in small, positive actions. Actions like greeting others as you walk by, picking up and disposing trash that may not belong to you, returning our shopping carts, or even going as far as collecting others and returning them, shoveling a neighbor's walk. It could be letting in a car who's trying to merge, regardless of our opinions on how they could have done it better, right? It is thinking about others more and about ourselves less. It is the quality of selflessness which defines a great teammate. It stands out not because it's difficult or arcane, but because it serves as a catalyst for so many other attributes that contribute to outstanding teamwork. Great teammates operate from the view that team is to be held above their own self-interest, and they act accordingly. The idea of teammates may derive a sense of competition and underscore the importance of winning. And winning matters, especially this weekend when Army football crushes Air Force. However, the greatest competition is not about beating your opponent, but rather the competition within yourself to be your best. A great team member owns every problem faced by the team and takes responsibility for addressing it. When armed with the view that any issue, challenge, or problem faced by a teammate is also their own, they show up differently than most colleagues. When fueled by a commitment to be fully accountable for everything that occurs within a team, that teammate becomes an incredible source of help, problem solving, and constructive feedback. They proactively show up and get to work. They refuse to let others down in their quest to make the situation and people better. A great teammate's actions exemplify reliability, and inspire others to be and do the same. Their actions defeat, "It's not my job," or "It's not my problem" attitude. Summarized in a little story about 4 people you may know, named everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody replied that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. Great teammates do whatever needs to be done. They wake like NBA Hall of Famer Bill Russell and ask, "What can I do? What can I do to help those around me succeed? What can I do to make my team better?" Each of us here today are teammates on a team of teams. Our teams are defined by family, school, sport, work, but extend farther. They extend to our communities, our states, our nation. Our existence and way of life is the result of collective efforts of those who have come before and sit among us today. They are because of service members like Owen Bawig, Jack Belton, Bruce Harder, Edward McGinnis, and Salvatore Mione, but they are also because of other extraordinary teammates for whom we are grateful on this first day of November. Teammates whose selflessness challenges us to be better, to be positive, to do our best, and to be good teammates. Go Army. God bless Bayonne, and God bless our United States of America.
Thank you, Colonel. Great job. Now, please enjoy the military medley performed by the Bayonne High School Band under the leadership of Samantha Herskowitz. Veterans, when you hear your service branch's song, you may stand to be recognized. Great job, band. I know that's always a fan favorite here. Nice job. At this time, I'd like to invite the Director of Social Studies, Mr. Dan Ward, and history teacher, Dr. Neil Carroll, to lead us in the awards presentation to our honorees.
Owen Bellweg was born in Bayonne in 1931. He was a member of Company B of the 21st Infantry Battalion of the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve, which left for the Korean War from Bayonne. Mr. Bellweg was a member of the Marine Corps Reserve from 1949 to 1952. During his wartime service in Korea, he was wounded and received 2 Purple Hearts. He survived the Battle of the Chosin Reservoir, becoming a member of the group called the Chosin Few. The battle, which took place during the severe cold in the late November 1950, was one of the most difficult of the Korean War. Elements of the 1st Marine Division were surrounded and attacked by 12 Chinese divisions around the Chosin Reservoir. Mr. Bellweg was promoted from private first class to corporal. He returned home and married Mary Riccio in 1952. They were married for 67 years. Owen Bellweg became a Bayonne police officer in December 1955. Early in his career, the former Marine responded on September 15, 1958, when a Central Railroad of New Jersey commuter train slid off the Newark Bay Railroad Bridge. Officer Bellweg and other first responders attempted and succeeded in saving many passengers' lives. During his police career, he was promoted to sergeant and then ultimately lieutenant. As a superior officer, Owen Bellweg served as police garage superintendent and supervisor of the Traffic Safety Division. He retired after an illustrious career with the police as lieutenant on December 31st, 1994. Mr. Bellweg. You all take the picture. Good. If the dignitaries would like to make their way stage left to take a picture with Mr. Bellweg. Yeah, you too. What? Me? No one's sitting in the chair. Sit in the chair. Okay. Jack Belton has been a Bayonne resident and community partner for over 50 years. Mr. Belton was born and raised in Jersey City, New Jersey. Jack was drafted into the United States Army in 1966. Mr. Belton arrived in Vietnam in 1967 and found himself actively participating in the First Tet Offensive alongside the Army of the Republic of Vietnam in the 2 core fortified areas within the Iron Triangle section of northwest of Saigon. Unfortunately, his unit suffered catastrophic casualties. Jack's war participation ended in 1968 when he was honorably discharged from the U.S. Army as a Spec 4. During his time in Vietnam, Jack was awarded the Vietnam Campaign Medal, Civil Defense Medal, Artillery Badge, Good Conduct Medal, and the Vietnam Service Medal. After the war, Jack married Bayonne resident Joanne Burke and raised 2 sons, John and Brian Belton. Brian is currently a principal in the Belleville Public Schools, while John is a recently retired lieutenant for the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. When Jack returned home, he became a pillar of service to the community of Bayonne. Jack has served on various committees and teams. He is a founding member of the New Jersey Vietnam Leadership Program, founding member of the Bayonne Economic Corps, Bayonne Chamber of Commerce, and was a Bayonne Little League coach. Jack Belton retired after 40 years of banking from Chase Bank in Manhattan and continues to serve. Mr. Belton. Bruce R. Harder. A native of Bayonne, Colonel Bruce R. Rocky Harder went to Washington Community School and graduated from Bayonne High School in 1964. In 1969, Mr. Harder was commissioned a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. Shortly afterwards, he served his first one-year tour in Vietnam as an infantry platoon commander with the 1st Marine Division. On his second tour to Vietnam, he served as the intelligence officer for Marine Fighting Attack Squadron 333 aboard the aircraft carrier USS America. Subsequent tours of duty took him to a variety of locations at home and abroad, where he held command and staff positions and planned and executed joint military exercises and operations. His last military assignment was the Director, Intelligence Division and Foreign Liaison Officer, Headquarters, United States Marine Corps. He attained the rank of colonel in 1990 and retired from active duty on January 1st, 1998. Colonel Harder earned numerous medals for his many heroic and honorable deeds during his service to our community. Among these awards are the Purple Heart Medal, the Bronze Star Medal with Combat V, and the Defense Superior Service Medal. From October 97 until August 2002, Bruce Harder was the Director of National Security and Foreign Affairs for the Veterans of Foreign Wars and the U.S. VFW. While working for the VFW, he advised senior officers on national security and POW MIA issues, and developed national security and POW MIA positions for the VFW. From August 2001 until July 2015, Colonel Harder was a senior policy and strategic planning analyst responsible for developing policy positions for the Director of Defense, POW MIA Accounting Agency, DPAA, and tech leader of the Northeast Asia Personnel Accounting Policy Team. He joined the staff at the Defense POW Missing Personnel Office in August 2002 and was initially appointed to the position of Policy Advisor, Personnel Accounting Directorate, Defense POW Missing Personnel. Mr. Harder retired from federal service on July 31st, 2015. We have a representative today. Glenn Flora.
Edward Patrick McGinnis, U.S. Army. Corporal Edward P. McGinnis was born and raised in Bayonne. Edward went to elementary school at St. Vincent's and ultimately attended Rutgers University, go Scarlet Knights, where he earned a degree in business. Edward spent most of his career working for the New York Stock Exchange before retiring to Ship Bottom, New Jersey. Edward met and married Lorraine Murray, another Bayonne native. This union gave way to 4 children, Mary Beth, Eileen, Edward, and John. Both Edward and Lorraine encouraged their children to have integrity, self-confidence, and determination, among other qualities. Edward was inducted into the U.S. Army on June 18, 1951, and served in Korea for the Operations Division for the Air Division of the G3 Section, Headquarters Corps. Edward accepted responsibility to make decisions and take action on air requests during the absence of G3 Air. These actions ultimately earned him the Bronze Star for his meritorious service in the Korean War under the command of Major General Jenkins. The citation for his award lists his loyalty, dependability, technical knowledge, and prompt acceptance of responsibility and major contribution to the G3 service. Edward Patrick McGinnis. Like a well-oiled machine, we just get smoother and faster as we go. Great job over there, Jackie. Salvatore Mione, U.S. Army. Salvatore Mione was born and raised in Bayonne. He attended Assumption Grammar School, and while in Bayonne High School was a member of the BHS track team. Upon his graduation in 1964, Sal attended IBM Technical School and began his career in the civil service working for the U.S. Air Force. Sal was drafted into the U.S. Army in February 1966 and served in Vietnam from July 1966 to July 1967. Sal was assigned to the 1st Cavalry Division, Air Mobile, D Company, 7th Regiment in Vietnam, a unit that suffered heavy casualties in November of 1965 in the Ia Drang Valley. In 14 days of fighting with North Vietnamese forces, this unit sustained 304 killed in action and numerous wounded. Sal was sent into this hostile area as a replacement and soon earned the Army's coveted Combat Infantry Badge. After 12 months in combat, Sal returned home and was awarded the Air Medal for flying over 25 combat aerial missions over enemy territory. Sal was a founding member of Chapter 151 of the Vietnam Veterans of America, joined the Bayonne Vietnam Veterans Memorial Committee, and helped erect the monument located at Dennis P. Collins Park that honors 28 service members that were killed in action and 2 prisoners of war from Bayonne. He was president of Vietnam Veterans Chapter 151 for 5 years, New Jersey State Council president for 4 years, and served on the Veterans Affairs Transition Team for Governor James McGreevey. Sal was also an active member in numerous veterans organizations such as American Ex-Prisoners of War, First Air Cavalry Division Association, the American Legion, the VFW, and the Catholic War Veterans, to name a few. Sal also served his community in a variety of ways. He was on the board of directors of Raway Geriatric Center. He was a member of various committees for St. Mary's Parish, a Raway City Councilman for 24 years, as well as City Council President. Accepting this honor is Sal's grandson, Anthony Marcantonio.
Now, once again, our bee's knees to lead us in God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountain to the prairie, Thank you.